Pick another question. Do you want to pick one this time? Or?
Yeah, so this is from Rahul. Thank you for sending this in, because this is important and this happens all the time.
And quite a few people answered this question as well.
What does it mean when crystals break whilst wearing them or just slipping from the hands? Now, it's always a sad moment when our crystals decide to do that. I mean, I've got multiple, like countless breakages in my crystal history, and one of the ones that I remember the most was I fell asleep while meditating. We've all done it, haven't we? You know, like, I'll just close my eyes and have a little meditate. And in actual fact, it's just an excuse for a nap, isn't it? And I had my citrine ankh, which I owned at the time, down my top because I knew that they do tend to escape. And I went out like a light, and I was out for about an hour, a good hour. And when I woke up, I was like, I forgot completely that the ankh was down my top, and it slipped down my top and it shattered into 1,000 pieces on the floor. No retrieval. There's nothing to be retrieved from this. It was just full breakage. And the information that I got was, yes, okay, I'd been forgetful, but these crystals choose specifically when they are going to go and what they are doing, okay? And our perception of crystals as being an inanimate object are very... that is an incorrect perception. They are highly conscious and very aware of what they're doing. And in most cases, the crystal will choose you. So it's choosing its pathway, where it's going to be going. And if a crystal breaks, in many cases, it's because it's the end of its contract with a person, okay, with you. Or it might have taken on an energy that was designated, which you would have received, but you didn't because the crystal took it for you, in which case sometimes they get so full up or there's nothing more that they can particularly do, and they break. So it does happen. It's sad. Sometimes things, you can't always rule out the law of accidents. You know, accidents happen. But in many cases there have been, you know, people will say, this crystal leapt from my hand. It literally suddenly grew. It was like a Mexican jumping bean or something, and like leapt from my hand into the place where it broke into 1,000 pieces. And they do this. It's a conscious action. So it's the end of its contract with you if your crystal has done that. Don't think that it's something that you've done, because it won't be. It's something that has occurred in your energy fields, and most of the time it's because the crystal has taken it away. You would have received it otherwise. So they serve us in this capacity as well.
Yeah, and if it is something you've done, it's because you've done something right. You have completed your mission that you and this crystal shared, and you completed it, and you no longer needed it.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same. They may, depending on the energies that they've taken on, stuff like that, they may decide to break, which actually releases the elemental in the process. Or you may just pick up a crystal one day and go, you know what, it's not mine anymore. It needs to go.
It's moving on.
And you find you need to have find a new keeper for it, or maybe return it to the earth or something like that, where it can go and rest and regenerate until maybe it's ready for a new mission at some point down the line. Absolutely. It does happen. It does happen.
I think this also includes, I've just seen Liz asking the question, what if a chip occurs on your crystal? Because we discussed this, didn't we, before we went live?
Else asked that as well.
It all depends on how big the chip is. Because you can have, say, my crystal and I might chip a little bit off the tip of it. It happens. That will not affect the serving or the working capacity of my crystal. If I broke the top of it off, yes, it would. It would make a significant difference in the way that the crystal was probably feeling and the way that the crystal would hold energy. So chips and travel damage and the other kind of stuff, don't worry about it. It's sometimes there's a lot of charm to a crystal that looks like it's been loved and carried a long way. I've got a golden healer Lemurian, which is at home, and over the course of the last 4 years or so, it's picked up a good 4 dings. And this is where it's fallen off the bed in the night, or I've dropped it. These things happen. And no, it doesn't affect the energy.
They're often referred to as wounded warriors, aren't they?
Wounded warriors, that's a good one. Yeah.
But again, just as the crystal can choose to break and release, it can choose to do that to, in some way, alter its structure for its purpose.
Absolutely.
To alter the way it acts in some way for the next phase of its journey.
Yeah.
So, and in truth, if you pick up a crystal, if I look at this, for instance, if I was thinking, should it be a perfect geometric form? It's not.
No.
It's got grooves, it's got divots, it's got chips that happened when it came out of the earth, or even when it was still in the earth. It doesn't change the ability of this crystal and how amazing it is. It's life. We've all got a few chips and dings.
Yeah, and we just
what happens.
Yeah, we get dinged on the pathway, don't we?
That's it, and it makes us stronger.
It does. It makes us a lot stronger, and it also covers another question that has been asked: is what do you do with a crystal that's been irretrievably broken? I always put mine either at the base of a tree, in the ground, actually physically buried, or in flowing water. Mm-hmm. Okay, so there's in a lot of the time, just listen to what your crystal is asking, because it will ask you to not dispose of it, but lay it to rest in whatever way is most suited for it. I always find that running water, placing them in a stream or a river, and just allow them to cleanse themselves and just go about the next phase of their existence.
Amen to that.
Absolutely.
I just want to tack on to the end of that. We had another brilliant question that inspired some conversations between us.
Yes.
From Kevin Sue, who said, I had a beloved amethyst one for 30 years, which also happens to be my 6-year-old grandson's favourite thing.
Yeah.
I recently dropped it and it broke clearly into 2 pieces. I glued it back together with a slightly broken heart and continued using it as before. But just the other day, said grandson came over, picked it up and separated again into 2, those same 2 pieces in his hand. I would love your insights into what this amethyst is telling us here, how best to handle the situation. Now, Tim and I were talking about this and saying about basically what we've just discussed without breaking it. But my wife, Leanne, as well, who is just amazing with crystals, like so intuitive with them. She really is
proper
incredible.
Ninja.
And if you follow my page, she's shared a few grids that she's built, which are just amazing, and we're hoping to do a bit more of that moving forward. And she said straight away, she clocked this brilliantly, it's hers and her grandson's favourite thing, and it keeps them splitting into 2.
Right.
It just feels right to me that was one bit for each of them. Yeah. Because it can share its energy like that.
Yeah,
one piece could be for your grandson and one piece could be for you, and then that bonds you and your grandson together as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So thank you for Leanne for that insight on that one.
That's a powerful insight as well, because in a lot of cases we think, well, it's broken now, that's it. But 2 pieces, sometimes that can serve just as well as one.
Absolutely.